So then the word kahuna, how does that word relate to Huna and Lono?
Oh, okay. Kahuna is a word that really means an expert or master in some field. And implied in that, in the Hawaiian way of using it, it implies a knowledge of the spiritual side of things as well. Okay? There was never anything done without both worlds involved. They didn't have the sense of separation that Westerners have with spiritual and material. Okay? So there were always both of these included. Okay? That was the assumption. But it meant a master or an expert in some particular field. So there was even the field of Kahuna He'enalu, which would be the master surfer. And surfing was fun as well as developed tremendous coordination and strength. And involved the mind and the body and the spirit. The master surfer then would also be able to speak to the spirits of the waves and the weather and the trees to get the best board. Right? There was a living community that involved the spiritual world. And the master was one who really knew how to work with that. So with all the kahunas, it was a very practical thing. Even what we call the priesthood, these were the people who specialized in rituals, and especially for the larger community, and specialized in all the important ceremonies and the relationships in a certain way with the spiritual world. The shamans had kind of a casual relationship with it, and the priesthood had a very formal relationship with it. And both of these were part of the society. Okay? So kahuna could be something very, apparently what we would consider mundane, but to Hawaiians was spiritual anyway. Masonry, fishing, navigation. There were kahunas in all of these areas, right? As well as the ones that we're more or less more familiar with. So that's all that word means. Coming from a root that basically means to take care of, one who takes care of. Kahu and na. I could also cut it up, split it up in a different way. Kahuna, which means basically the esoteric knowledge, okay, the hidden knowledge. Today, kahuna isn't used as much. It has some bad connotations among some people because of many abuses that occurred when that old religion was overthrown. The formal religion was overthrown. And many of the priests of that time had no source to sustain them or their families. Some of them went back to farming. Of course, some always did farming on the side anyway. But some turned to sorcery. And I said this happened in 1819. The first missionaries arrived in 1820. And those Boston missionaries were on the lookout for sorcery under any disguise. So because they were trying to convert the Hawaiians into a whole different way of thinking and acting, they usually did that by declaring everything that was old as bad and part of the old sorcery. And so the word kahuna then among many people became a word for a sorcerer. Okay? And that still persists to a great deal today. So many people who might have been called kahuna in the old days are using more neutral terms of kahu, kupuna, which really means elder, or kumu, which means teacher.